We'll be checking out the animals from JWE3 Crocodilia Coast DLC today, along with Elasmosaurus from the free update. Let's waste no time and check out the more interesting animals first, starting with the letter D for Deinosuchus. There he is, 10 genetics to create this guy. 1 to 2 batch size, 900 appeal. Where does that put him compared to, say, a Tyrannosaurus? Similar, yeah. So Deinosuchus, big ticket animal. I also, briefly, if we do this, large. Deinosuchus, not large. Medium. Deinosuchus, wait, where is it? Medium. Wait. No, it is large. Sorry, I lied. It was underneath the thing. I couldn't do my letters. My alphabet deceived me. Okay, anyway. Somebody had said that it was in a weird category, but maybe that's talking about nests or something. Yeah, female Deinosuchus, male Deinosuchus. Dimorphism minimal, longer spines on the tail on the male. But dimorphism should probably be minimal on a croc like this, right? Is the back more lumpy? I think the back's a little more lumpy. I think hard to say exactly if the scales are a little bigger, those osteoderms on the back. But, maybe? I think so. Very subtly so, but enough that you can see it. Let's look at the color palette. Oh, and I suppose, we can briefly look at... Can we briefly look at the baby? Do we have to do... We have to do this? I wish you could preview these in Sandbox. I don't know why you can't. It's bad. it's dumb that this isn't visible by default. But there's the baby. Alright, like scavenger, dislikes hybrid carnivores, large carnivores, Therizinosaurus. So this is just your standard big carnivore type setup, right? Large appetite, needy, intolerant, strong, lifespan 55 to 105. Sure. Meat, deep water, wetland, barren. Interesting. I mean, wetland and deep water make perfect sense. Meat feeder over goat. I don't know how I feel about that. It's weird that it's a meat feeder to me. No interesting things with population at all. Okay. 12 gene mod points. We're not going to worry too much about that. Let's look at the color palettes. So very earth tone, naturalistic, but a decent range of colors within that. You even get a kind of bluish one here with mangrove. And it looks like the pattern is primarily the tail. Yeah, for the female, it's really just like striping on the tail, which is an interesting choice. Very subtle. I don't hate subtle. This is fine. I feel like it could use like one flashier color or something maybe. The most you can kind of do is this like reddish bit. Do the scale colors change there on the spine? They do. Okay. Yeah, so it's actually a little more than it initially looked like because it is all the way down the tail and then these highlight scales on the spine. For the male, you can assume the same base colors. And then probably a bit different patterning. Well, with this color, I don't see any patterning, which is interesting. The patterning might be fairly translucent. That kind of makes it disappear. Sorry, am I blind? The scales are changing color on the back. Wait, does the male have less patterning than the female? That's an interesting take. Okay, I mean, this is a little disappointing that the male just doesn't have anything for patterns. That's actually kind of nuts. I don't dislike the female being the flashier of the two, though. That's an interesting deviation from the standard dimorphism of the game. I like that. I like that. I just think the male should have something for pattern beyond just these scale highlights. I don't love that. But having the more dramatic pattern on the female is fine. We'll do some randoms. Save and exit. I need to turn off scientists. I apologize. That's me being bad at doing videos. Scientists off. Apply. Okay. Let's get them out here. These were a 1 egg? 2 egg. Okay, so we can get a pair quick. Let's do that female, this male. Yeah, like, honestly, with the males, they can just be blank. It makes very little difference to anything. Alright.
Incubation complete. Prepare asset for release.
I like that he immediately comes out, you know, with his mouth open. Immediately cooling himself down. I mean, it looks great in game. It's a very satisfying animal to have, for sure.
If I'm honest, I'm not sure I can adequately portray the sheer awe I feel at seeing a Deinosuchus. This prehistoric crocodilian is immense, and every bit as deadly. It is most certainly as apex a predator as you can find.
Oops. Oh my god. Bruh. I hate when the environmental tools don't properly switch when you click on them. It's very aggravating. Okay, there we go. Some water. Let's throw down some nice wetland. A little cypress swamp, the classic. And if we can get them spreading around, we can get a sense of what they need for an enclosure here. The barren is pretty minimal, so just a little bit of, I don't know, boulder waste here. Wow, that's a lot of boulder. Yeah, let's get something that doesn't immediately erase the exhibit. Thank you. Probably a little more deep water and stuff. Before they get completely pissed at me and escape. Okay, there's all the deep water they need. So that's close to being good.
A comfortable dinosaur is one that's significantly easier to manage. Keeping them content should be a priority.
Yeah. That's not a bad, like, large animal enclosure for a couple animals. This guy is still a bit pissed because he's needy. So the needy does actually become the worst. I actually need a second meat feeder because of that too, which ain't great. So yeah, I don't recommend a needy one, I suppose. That sucks a bit, and honestly, you can do not Cypress Swamp to get some better numbers here too, because we don't need the trees. It just looks nice, you know? Are you already going for a fence, my guy? If he is, we can do quick little, how about no? Knock it off? Yeah, actually, the worst shit in the world. The fact that, like, you can't... His territory is barely expanded enough to actually, like, meet his meter. I've given him this shit, but because of the way this game works with its AI, he's already decided to smash events and it doesn't fucking matter. Which is a classic moment. Sir? What was that? Was he... Okay. That was definitely him running over to attack a fence. Do they not... Okay. Hold on. Science. It's time for science. These guys may not may have a bug with attacking fences. Let's get a ranger team in here. I'm very curious about this. We might as well grab the needy one. That seemed very weird. Because he was almost like frozen in place. It seemed like. Meanwhile, where's the non-problem child? There she is. Dead into the water. Perfect. Go for a swim. Let's see you swim. The colors on this one are fantastic, by the way. This, like, black and yellow look, this is so good. For reference, Svalbard Papurana. Yeah, the being a log, good stuff. I do wish, like, she was doing a lot of movement with her mouth. It would be fun if they would just, like, idle as a log sometimes. Like, they do it briefly, right? Like, if they just sat there like that. I guess she's eating, to be fair. Like, fair enough. You, my little pest, are now a science experiment. There's the uncomfortableness. I mean, unless they change something where you can disrupt the AI by fixing its terrain before it gets to the fence, but that was never how it worked before. Like, before, once it had decided to attack a fence, you could do nothing about that.
Some of the animals are experiencing heightened levels of stress.
Yeah.
If the dinosaurs are on edge, it's only a matter of time until our guests are too. Let's get this under control.
Okay, no, it can attack a fence. Alright. Fair enough. I mean, I don't, okay, then I don't know what was going on there initially with that moment where it, walked up to the fence and then took a nap. That was weird. Okay, well, it's fine. It can in fact attack fences, so we don't need to worry about that. Alright, Postosuchus. Actually, let's look at Desmato, because D comes before P. Batch size 1 to 2, 92 appeal. 92 appeal puts it on par with, like, what, a small... No, it's above a small Stegosaurid. 57 on Kentra. What's a Stego or a Trike worth? Styrax, 76. Trike is 109. Toro 78. So, like, yeah, large ceratopsian level Stego, but not quite. That kind of makes sense. Unique animal. Having the stats somewhat reflect that is solid. Synth cost is nice and cheap. The Dino, for reference, 653. Much more expensive. Actually, hold on. Let's look at the info tab. Like sauropod, ornithomimosaurid, hadrosaurid, pachycephalosaurid, iguanodontian, dislikes hybrid ceratopsians, ankylosaurids, and stegosaurids. Interesting. So this is different than a lot of animals in the game in that you kind of bundle ceratopsids and ankylosaurids and stegosaurids like together in a pose, right? So something usually likes kind of everything or likes one group or the other, right? Stegosaurids don't like ankylosaurids, and ankylosaurids don't like stegosaurids. But this guy doesn't like either group of other armored. He wants to be the only armor boy in the enclosure. So that's kind of cool. Wetland slop, confirmed. Fiber eater, 2 adults. Pretty basic. The baby silhouette, there it is. Looks like what we expect it to look like. There's a little stretching on the texture on the back there. You could see this specific segment here, these 2 rows. But it's much better than is present on most of the other animals, which is, you know, expected, being that it's a new animal. Let's look at the skins. So we got earth tones again, but a little flashier. The greens are a little brighter. This coloring on the side there is the pattern, these spots, and then a little stripe on the leg. I like the base. I like the basic pattern a bit too, where you kind of got these lines that come down on the side of the rib cage and the tail that kind of, you know, match the vibe of the spine. Yeah. Pattern is again pretty subtle, but present. On the male? Oh yeah. Actually, is anything going on here on the spine? Yes. That makes it less. That makes it a lot less subtle when seen from above. Okay, yeah, you get a lot more coloring going on there on the top. Okay, for the male, same spread of base colors, of course. If we pick maybe a nice dark one there, so we get similar patterning there. I do like this armor pattern quite a lot. I like I call this like a Rorschach test almost in previews. It does kind of have that vibe of like an ink blot that's been folded over. I quite like that. And then yeah, it looks like the spots on the side of the body are larger basically here. More verging more on frontier splotches, but I'm okay with it specifically because it's kind of linear and right under the armor as opposed to just being splotches splattered on the side of the animal. That seems okay. Let's release some of them. 3 coming there. Let's just speed it up and get them out before we look at the other ones. Hey! Don't you attack that fence. You're happy now. I might need to get a maintenance facility in here before... You know what? That's fine. We can probably ignore it. He'll probably stop. Alright, let's see what we got. We got you, or you. You're pretty exotic. I like the green one. There we go. 1 guy, 2 girls. Let's get them. Release them.
Prepare asset for release.
Yeah, the purple and green one's pretty nice. This one at the center of the point of the camera.
Well, crikey, that's one heavily defended animal right there. And I'm being deliberately vague because the Desmatosuchus isn't a dinosaur, but a distant relative of modern crocodiles. And even though it's an herbivore, I'm more likely to wrestle a croc than I am this spiky armored little glimpse of prehistory. FYI, I won't be wrestling a croc anytime soon either.
Thank you, Cabot, for your input. Why did he say crikey? It's not Australian. It's from America. Alright, we can get some more tree cover back in here. Get them a little bit better off. Yeah, just the 2 are kind of struggling a little bit to maintain their enclosure. Alright. Let's take a look at our
The right
fellas.
scenery can have a
Missing
profound
cover.
effect on an animal's well-being. Let's see just how beneficial it can be to these animals.
This has got to be a Gambia, right? A Gambia Pilo. No power. Yeah, that's bad. Sir? Let there be light? Okay. Well, they'll be fine. We don't need to babysit them right now. No. Social animation, maybe? Might have missed it. We didn't take a good look at their dimorphism. It's easier to see in a hatchery where you can look closer. I mean, like physical dimorphism. Oh yeah, the male, again, is less dramatic. I like the theming with the Crocs. Wait, that's good. The female's got these big hook spines on the neck. And the male has very tiny little spikes. Again, I mean, in this case, the patterning's a bit more dramatic. I mean, is it? It's just kind of different. Because honestly, this is much more detailed. And then on the male, it's much more solid lines, right? The actual patterning is kind of reduced in a way. Yeah, this is fun. I like the theming that the females are more dramatic for the Crocs. Hopefully that continues with Postosuchus. Let's take a look at Posto. There he is. This is my favorite of the pack. I think this guy looks friggin' incredible. 2 to 3 batch size, 160 appeal. That is going to be Sorry, I was thinking you do diet here. 160 appeal is going to be a bit more than your typical small guy. He actually comes out, yeah, just under Utah Raptor, as far as small fellas go. Interesting. Social and tall, strong and fit, likes scavenger, dislikes carnivores, Therizinosaurus, very standard, 2 population, arid wetland, water prey. I'm not going to complain about high wetland demand on the Crocs. That makes sense. So, even for a terrestrial Croc, it makes more sense for the Crocs to be wetland than anything else. But I will harp that wetland is overrepresented in the game. All right, cool. Let's look at him. Where'd he go? Resetting the thing made me lose him. All right, so colors on the female. The splash of color on the nose is an interesting look. Yeah, again, so all 3 Crocs are pretty earth toned. Deinosuchus more so than the others. These ones have they're earth tones, but they're fairly vibrant earth tones overall. And they all kind of have not too crazy for patterning. They don't get like completely tie-dyed or nothing. I can appreciate the subtleness of some of the patterning here. I mean, this is still pretty nice. Like with the way this is arranged very like evenly down the back, I think is pleasing. And the little splash on the snout is an interesting detail. Don't know how I feel about that as much, but it's not bad. And honestly, you can pick a color palette that kind of suppresses it a little bit if you don't love it. Like, you can get it blended in pretty well and still get some nice detailing on the back. For the male, so we get the splash of color on the nose is now broken up into kind of these like angled stripes, which is pretty cool. That's kind of another very unique sort of look for a patterning that we haven't really seen much before. Very nice, like lizard vibes with the skin here. The way the colors combine together is evoking. I can't think of like the name of a specific lizard, but the body patterning here is making me think of a fella I've seen in a zoo somewhere. No, this looks fantastic. I think the blending of the stripes on the face looks a little weird. Like they're a little stark. Oh, I like the nose color there too. Honestly, yeah, I could see the benefit to not having these stripes on the face. They almost distract from some of the other stuff, but like this is still very, very good. It's still my favorite by far. This like the body patterning is so good. Yeah, you can do a nice yellow. That's evoking like a very, like a, I don't know, like a desert horny toad or something like that lizard. That's pretty cool. Love him. Very, very fantastic. Glad that he's bipedal. Dimorphism, visually speaking. So bigger spikes on the male. So this is breaking, I think, from the other Croc dimorphism, in that the patterning and the dimorphic features are more dramatic on the male now. I wish they would have kept it. I'm disappointed that they went with a traditional dimorphism for the Posto after having Deinosuchus and Desmatosuchus be the opposite. Also, you can see this like membrane here by the knee. That's pretty neat. This is like a feature that's like actually known for Psittacosaurus. I don't know if this like membrane has a correlate in Crocs, but I can't say it doesn't. So it's just an interesting detail to notice. Yeah, cool. I like it. I like it a lot. I am, of course, a notorious hater of non-dinosaurs in this game, but it's actually not the non-dinosaurs that I dislike, it's the non-archosaurs. I like pterosaurs. I like Crocs. I'm happy to have these in the game. You know, just to clarify my stance. I didn't mean to click off of that one. We can do these two female. And these are prey feeder.
Complete. Prepare
Gets a good hustle on there if he wants. Also, love the Triassic representation.
The Postosuchus is an ancient crocodile relative, and it dominated its hunting grounds. Back in the Triassic, it saw the dinosaurs it lived alongside as little more than prey. So just imagine how it looks at us.
Alright, he's doing me a favor and he's walking to the side so that I can slap down a strip of sand. Here's your sandbox so that you're happy with me. Let's do one of these real quick. Environment, default weather state, clear, time of day. Day, no weather, apply. Oh, of course, I apply it and it's raining, but the rain is not bad. Desmatosuchuses are fighting for dominance, I guess. Cohab discomfort, yeah, it's expected. Are you gonna make a move at any point? There you go. I like that the Deinosuchuses are just laying over here together on the beach. This is expected behavior. I like this. It would look better if they weren't like direct clones of. Oh, come on, man! I turned off storms like right as the storm starts. Seriously? Really, dude? Okay. Fucking goddamn it. We're gonna need main. it's turned into a real park build. It's not supposed to be. Annoying. Let's just automate this as well. And it's more beneficial for us to delete this. Not allowed, bruh. Alright, now everybody's mad about the storm. And the cohab. Missing deep water. Bro. What? How are you... Huh? Has your territory degraded? Wait, is the territory... What happened? How is this like this? The deep water's been removed from the territory, and it has a geometric edge? What is this? What is this? Add that to the glitch list, whatever that is. That is messed up. It's like it spontaneously decided it's not allowed to go in deep water for some reason. That's crazy. Oh, there's the arid I need. Alright, well, anybody gonna do anything interesting? You're just sitting here on the beach not moving, mad that you don't have deep water. This is ridiculous behavior. And now you're moving to go smash a fence because you're mad that you don't have deep water. Very cool. What the fuck happened to their territory? Baffling. Yeah, see where they started moving, it reset. It re-picked up the deep water, but it's lost all the other deep water, except for this strip over here. There is no plausible way that this is intentional. This is 100% a territory glitch. Because the fact that it loops around the back still literally makes no sense. Territory decays inward. There's no way for it to, like, do this shit. Like, it could be... You could have an animal that walked around the outside, right? So it has a weird territory that's a donut shaped. But the linear section, 100% glitched. I don't know why, but it is. Very weird. Okay, well, I wanted to see somebody eat a motherfucker, but it doesn't seem to be happening. The fuck? Wait, how do you still miss in deep water at this point? You've regained everything. I guess it was just barely enough. So yeah, even with the added corner, it's not gonna actually work.
I mean, at least the dinosaurs are fighting each other rather than us. But even so, I don't like to see it. Makes me nervous.
I would have liked the notification that that was happening, so that I could show it, but that's fine, I guess. He's just gonna stand there and think about what he did.
Damage found, but I'm on it.
Okay. Oh, you're eating. Am I just gonna miss everything? We see nothing? We see nothing. Okay, cool. Yeah, he was thinking about eating, and then he changed his mind. Alright. Undiagnosed ailment, from fighting, probably. I'm sure you'll be fine. Yeah, social animation's alright. It's kind of similar to a lot of other carnivore social animations. The whole nip and chase thing. Okay, he's going in for an eat. Posto is fighting a Desmatosuchus. Now I see the thing coming up. Very low to the ground there. Fun. Get him. Who's gonna lose? Posto's backing off. Desmato is victorious. Okay. Well, alright. I think we've seen most of what we're gonna see here. I like the little bellow that Deinosuchus was doing. Just lays down, head in the water. Perfect. Oh, you guys are sprinting off for a moment. I was hoping to see a lunge. Oh. Well, ask and you shall receive. Simultaneous double lunge. Crazy. Love to see it. Very interesting. You could see the moment they decided to hunt where they ran into the deep water to do the canned animation. Makes sense. I wish they'd spend, yeah, I wish they'd do this, right? Lounge in the water like this instead of on the shoreline, but the shoreline is also fine. It makes sense. Just so that, like we can't judge, right, how often it's going to look artificial where they have to run into the water to do the attack. Because we've seen it twice now, and it just happened to be because they were on the shoreline to begin with. Like, we don't really have a good grasp of how often they're going to be in the water doing that. And the carcasses are just dropped here on the shore, which is interesting. I mean, it's a bigger animal, so they can't swallow it whole, so it kind of makes sense that it just has to be there, essentially. Well, was that... We got one posto left now at this point? I think so. Oh. Doing the croc thing. Alright, cool. Excellent. Of course, the two other resold animals in the pack are aquatics, along with the free update animal, providing a much-needed boost to the lagoon roster, albeit, you know, 2 out of 3 paid returning species, which is awkward. The fact that these are both lagoon animals, a very depleted roster, and the fact that they're paid lagoon animals is kind of awkward, right? The lagoons suffer, and this doesn't really help it unless you're willing to shell out for that. Elasmo, of course, is the free update one. There it is. Male. Female. Yeah, so I don't know if there's that much dimorphism to be seen there. The female is, of course, still very spiky. Some people had hoped it would be smoothed off. No such luck. It looks like the male has more defined striping on the neck. Honestly, that goes a long way towards helping this animal. One of the problems with Elasmo was that the patterns were dog shit. Like, that's actually solid. That's not bad. That's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Because, yeah, if we look at the female, I assume this is just going to be the JWE pattern. Which is, yeah, these, like, weird highlights. Like, it's almost just, like, tints the animal, right? Because it's all these, like, little itty-bitty spots. So it just kind of adds almost a secondary color shader over top of the entire animal, essentially. Yeah, I like this male. I don't love it because it's Lasmosaurus, but, like, this is a good pattern. This is an improvement. I think objectively. Cool. 1 to 3 batch size, 400 appeal. Shoney is 1280. Sticks is 789. 1 to 2, 1 to 3. So Shoney is on tier with the big boys. Shoney is up there. I don't remember where it was in double the chrono, actually. Yeah, I have no idea what the appeal score for this was in the last game. Interesting. Okay, the Elasmo Juvenile is smooth. We saw this in the previews. Yeah, it looks alright. If you want smooth Elasmos, you could technically do a bunch of juveniles with the right sandbox settings. Shoneysaurus. Juvenile is there. Yeah, that's a juvenile Shoney, alright. It looks like a lot like the adult. Is it really ought to? Alright, there's the female. This should be our JWE2 pattern, I think. Everybody loves the purple. Expected range of colors and stuff. And then the male patterning. You get this, you get basically the female pattern plus more, right? You get these different patterns on the body and down the tail. But you can still see that the facial patterning is very similar. Looks fine. Not gonna gush over it. I think the Elasmo got a much bigger upgrade with the male pattern than this did, but this didn't need it, right? That's the big thing. Styx is probably became one of my favorite aquatics in JWE2. So there's our female and there's our male. No real difference that I can see in dimorphism for any of these guys. They're all kind of there. Expected range of colors, patterns. We got our bioluminescent patterns, of course. And then for the male, we get what? Different patterning on the flippers and down the body. Kind of the same neck pattern. I mean, it might even be the same pattern, kind of. No, it's definitely different, because this is much more... This is like the striping just continues the whole way down. I mean, sure. I like the way the neck is highlighted on the female more. This is one of the things I find appealing about this animal, is the neck looks like a display feature. Which always made sense to me. Yeah, I don't think the male does much for me here. I mean, it's not like bad or anything, mind you. It's just a different take on the same thing, but reduces the aspect of it that I kind of liked more, I think. I guess it depends here on the pattern a little bit, because this is still very much like the neck is highlighted. No, you do get, yeah, so this is right here. You see the yellow coming through on the patterning on the spine? That's not there on the female. That's why some of these skins look much more like the whole thing is like the same color. Because it is reduced. The uniqueness of the neck coloring is reduced on the male. Okay. In terms of the juvenile, there it is. He's got the look you'd expect. He does have the little fins on the neck and the back there. I'm fine with it. That's whatever. Now, we can look at the research and the dig sites. Let's go backwards. So we turn on expeditions. I'm not going to release any of those. I don't know if I said that. It's just not worth doing the release for the existing animal. These are all U.S. animals again. Very overpopulated, of course. That's not really important to discuss here. The Crocs are all southern U.S. animals, like Texas, Nevada, that kind of stuff. Postosuchus and Desmatosuchus from Post Quarry. This is part of the Chinle Formation, I assume, because these are really associated with that formation. Postosuchus is found in a few other places, I think. Postosuchus, of course, named for Post, which is also presumably where Post Quarry is. Go figure. Deinosuchus down here in a Guja formation, right next to Ketz and Javelina. That's probably what, Texas or something, right? Like right there on the edge, maybe, or maybe a Guja. No, it is USA. I'm trying to envision where the Texas border goes, and it's kind of like right there. So it's probably like right on the edge of the U.S. Yeah, and then Elasmo is like, and Styx are Pier Shale and like Hell Creek and whatnot. Coal Oil Canyon for Styx there. It's also up here in a Hell Creek one somewhere. Somewhere. And then, yeah, Elasmo and Pier Shale. And Shawnee is somewhere. Shawnee's in Canada. Shawneesaurus apparently more known for, or associated with Nevada, but they put it in Canada in game probably because, I don't know, Canadian representation. We can do a filter here. Yeah, there we go, Marine. So Styx in Hell Creek, Elasmo and Pure Shale, Styx in Coal Oil Canyon, the Croc's all in the south, and then, yeah, way up here is Shawnee. Pardonnet. Pardonnet? I don't know, it depends. That should be everything, right? Yeah. Okay. So some new dig sites. 27,000 for Styx, 87 for Elaz, 56 for Styx, and Shawnee is big, pricey, expensive fella. The Crocs, Post Quarry, Posto Desmato, 150k. That's certainly plausible for something you could do early game. Deinosuchus 500k because he's a big ticket thing. That makes sense. If we take a look at the research, so the Crocs are integrated into the regular carnivore dig sites. Postosuchus is under small carnivores 1. Or sorry, the regular dig sites because one's an herbivore. True. Large carnivore, Deinosuchus, right in there. So 200k for Postosuchus is early game viable. Desmato is here under Armored 3. Chasmo Desmato, Gigant, Sorpelta Stego. 200k, again, viable early game. So yeah, starting to get pretty big on these dig sites. I'm kind of surprised at this point they haven't added extras. In particular, when we look at the lagoon animals. So we have these 5 that were already in the game. Everything else that's new is bundled into Marine 2, which includes 6 animals now. Like, do they have no intent on bringing in a 3rd Marine dig site? Because these are already ridiculous. I think this was a downgrade. Doing away with the separate trees from 2 for this, like, postage stamp album here of just pick whatever you want and get a billion animals. I think this is not great. And I think it's scaling poorly as they bring back animals too, and I think it should be adjusted, but that's not really that important to discuss here because I'm gonna mod it all the way anyway. This is the new map we were given. This is Hawaii. Now, if you look at the skyline, this is the Azores. This outline here is identical to the Azores map. What the Hawaii map is it's the Azores map, but the trees outside the border are now jungle trees instead of the conifer trees, which are, yeah, the conifer forests. So the Azores map has like the conifer stuff out here, and then they just switched out the tree types and repackaged the same map. So it's not even Hawaii, which I think is kind of lame. It doesn't really matter that much at the end of the day. You don't spend that much time looking at the map boundary, but it is underwhelming that this is not a different, environment. Because, like, as much as the map edge doesn't usually matter, you can integrate this into park builds. We saw this in the last viewer park tour I did for Muto's Park. where he used the map border for part of the park, and it kind of made it have a nice little vista looking out. Like, same thing with this like little lagoon here. You can build an exhibit like right here and be looking at this, which means like if you do that on one map or the other, you're going to notice that, right? You're going to notice that the skybox, that the terrain surrounding the map is the same. Kind of lame. Again, not a big deal. Doesn't matter that much. But come on, we couldn't have actually Hawaii. Other changes the free update has are pretty minor. We, of course, get the glass. The DLC itself, of course, has new decorations as well. I'm not going to go through all those. It is what it is. The glass is much needed. We get new sandbox settings. Relatively minor ones, though. We have changes to combat frequency. We have the chaos mode. We have the capability to remove the aggressive gene. I feel like I'm forgetting. There's definitely a couple of other small changes here. I think there's like 4 things overall, but they're all fairly minor. If we look at chaos, scientist disabled, power disabled, dinosaur needs increased. I don't know if we ever figured out if this actually randomizes. I don't think it does. I think it's just a specific setting. Oh yeah, increased dinosaur needs. Oh, cohab. There's a new cohab setting. That's what it was. Dinosaur cohab, all dislike is now a thing you can do. So that all animals have to be housed in a species-specific enclosure. So that's what chaos has. Always succeed, maximum breeding, everything dislikes. Enabled infinite gene mods. Like, this is... I don't know, this is weird to me. This is a thing that initially seemed like it might be interesting. I don't know about that. This is feeling now like a random include that is just kind of there. Like, I don't know that this needed to be a specific setting. If it actually randomized things, like a randomized challenge mode, quotation marks, this would be sick, but it doesn't seem to be that. It just seems to be some weird fucking combination of settings that they decide to implement, which is really just more sandbox than anything. It's just a sandbox, but like dinosaur comfort's different. Why does that get the moniker chaos? That like feels like that could be better used elsewhere. Anyway, I think that's kind of everything to cover here. Yeah, let me know what you think of this DLC in the comments. I'm ignoring the controversy with the resold species. I'm happy with it. I quite like all 3 Crocs. I think they're well implemented. I think it's just unfortunate that this like really great Croc pack had to be bundled with random returning lagoon animals that have nothing to do with the pack and stir up a bunch of controversy when everybody should have been excited about just getting Crocs in the game. Instead, it's opened up a whole can of worms about reselling and price points, and that's just a little unfortunate for the game. But they made that choice. They got to live with it, and we will live with it in the upcoming park build, where we'll be integrating the Crocs, well, the current ongoing park build. But yes, those are the words I want to say. I'll catch you all later.